having a hard time like keeping my train of thought, and they were all symptoms of a stroke. So ended up in the ER.
I feel like a lot of the reasons that the World Cups just don't hit the same, a lot of it's just the overall, I know it sounds weird, but just the vibes of the tournament.
Going down the conspiracy road, LeBron's really interested in playing with Steph. Kevin Durant hasn't won a championship since he left Golden State. And then people are saying Klay Thompson should go back to Golden State, retire as a Warrior.
Obviously, he's not freaking 2013 Green Bay Packers Aaron Rodgers, but he's still like an above average quarterback who, with the right supporting cast around him and a solid defense, I think that there can be maybe a special season in Pittsburgh. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the From the Stands podcast. We are back on this May 13th of 2026 for episode 104. Obviously, we did skip a little bit of last week. There was no episode for you guys to listen to, which we will address in just a little bit. But before we get into that, we do have another jam-packed episode for you guys. The usual content, I guess you could say, with the Prem coming down to the final day, it's seemingly, with Arsenal and Man City going down all the way to the wire. We also have a pretty spicy relegation battle going on at the bottom of the table, which we'll get into as well. We'll also get into action from La Liga and Serie A, as those are coming to the end as well, crowning their champions this past week. And then we're going to switch sports to basketball with the NBA playoffs, getting down to the business end as well, with a couple conference finals participants being known now, and some good series going on overall. And then we'll wrap it up maybe with a little NFL talk, as Fezzy Boy's team had some good news, maybe bad news, going down this week, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. But Fezzy Boy, you want to get into why we didn't have an episode last week or what?
Yeah, absolutely. I will definitely get into that because it involves me. Surprise, surprise. But before we get into that, if you guys could please like and subscribe on the video here on YouTube, that would help us out a ton. Yeah, like Sammy Boy said, did not get an episode out last week. We did record one, but I ended up having a little bit of some health issues going on. We were recording the podcast and it was getting really, really late. And it's happened before where like the left side of my body will just like go numb. And I'm just like, usually I'm just like super tired, and that's kind of why it's happening. But it happened really badly, and I like got super confused. Like, I don't know if Sam like realized it or whatever, but like mid sentence, I just like thought I was stroking out. That's kind of like the whole point of this story. And ended up going to the ER later that night. I woke my wife up because I was just like, Taylor, I think you need to take me somewhere because it's not going away. And I got really nauseous and my vision blurred, and like I was having a hard time like keeping my train of thought, and they were all symptoms of a stroke. So ended up in the ER, kept me overnight, kept me for most of the day on Thursday last week. I think that's how it worked out. But lo and behold, because of all that, I did not end up getting the episode out, so y'all can blame me. Technically, this should be 105, but it is 104 because that last one did not see the light of day. But yeah, other than that, I was not having a stroke. Good news. Apparently, it's just migraines. I don't know. It's just a lot of migraines.
Sounds like
a
cop out for your doctor is what I'm hearing, but
that's what I'm saying. They took an MRI, they took a CAT scan, they ran some
those
blood
are all
tests.
the symptoms, my guy.
I know. I don't know, man. The only thing was that they kept going to was like I could still do all my motor functions and stuff. They did a bunch of testing. My face and eyes weren't drooping or anything. So it was like, well, you know, you're functioning fine. And there was no weakness. It was just like a feeling. It was just like fuzziness all down the left side of my body. And I was just like, well, it feels like a stroke. And they're like, no, it's just migraines. And I was like, I even asked them, I was like, how does a migraine like do this? It was like, well, sometimes like what a migraine is, it's like pressure on your brain or whatever. And if it's in the right spot, like it can mess with your nerves and whatever. All right. You went to medical school and I didn't. So I'll take your word for it, but not dying as of now. So
it's all that asbestos and mold that you got to work in all the time, dude.
Dude, oh my goodness. It's probably, it's probably the fact that I literally day one of my new job, I was in a freaking crawl space. So all that freaking mold and stuff. But
yeah, it was funny. The day after, I guess it was Thursday night or whatever, we were trying to get players for ball. I was texting Jared, and I was like, Jared was like, yeah, I've texted a bunch of people Stallone was kind of like my last option or whatever. I was like, Stallone would not be joining. He's not feeling well or something like that. I was like, he coming to
I am
Friday
not
morning.
well at the moment. I will not be playing basketball
Yeah.
this week, but
I didn't give
yeah.
him details, but I was just like, yeah, he's not feeling well.
Yeah. Yeah. He also hit me at like 11:30 at night. And I'm just like,
Why?
bro, how, like, you're lucky I'm not asleep. Usually I'm asleep by then, but
Yeah, he's probably watching his Timberwolves lose, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
we will get into that in a
But
little
yeah,
bit.
I did see you like struggling there a little bit, and I was like, "You good?" And you're like, "Yeah, I just." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Well, that's the
basically
thing.
what you said.
Typically it happens and I can keep going, but it hit me so hard, I literally had to stop because
Yeah.
it also gets to a point where, like, if I keep talking, like, if I stop talking, I start feeling a little bit better, but like if I keep talking, I feel like I'm going to like pass out. And so
Yeah.
I had to stop. That's when I told you, I was like, bro, I don't feel good. And then we abruptly ended the podcast, even though we had a few more things to talk
Yeah.
about. But
From now on, Sloan will be on a word restriction, so he
That's
will
right.
not be permitted to speak
Short-
more than 100 words at a time.
short little sentences from now on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was was definitely a struggle.
Yeah, so we'll see if we can get through this podcast here without incident, but we shall see.
If you're anything like me, you love hats, but not just any hats. You want a hat that looks good, but is also made with quality materials as well. And you want it to fit just the way you want it to. That's why we've partnered with Cowboy Revolution Apparel Company to bring you guys hats that do just that. I love my Cowboy Revolution hats. They're rugged and aesthetic. So whether I'm at work or podcasting, I know my hats will hold up and look great. They not only have hats, but a wide variety of apparel and accessories as well. Cowboy Revolution is also a veteran-owned and operated company, so you know where your money is going and you can feel good about it. Get your hats and apparel today at cowboyrevolution.com and use the code FTS15 for 15% off your order, or use the link in the description below. That's FTS15 for 15% off your order today. Probably
Without
not.
further ado, though, we'll get into a little football talk, as we like to do, hopping over the pond for a little Prem action. We did speak on the Prem a little bit last week in the unaired episode, but I think that was actually the episode where we talked about Man City tying with Everton, which is a little bit of a sad reason for the podcast not coming out, but they did tie, so they are, have the short end of the stick as far as the title race is concerned currently. But we'll just kind of dive right in with Arsenal and Man City, both picking up wins at the weekend. Man City easing to a very easy 3-0 victory against Brentford. Brentford never really looked the part in their game against Man City's starters. Nothing much really to report there. And then Arsenal narrowly winning against West Ham, which is kind of the one that I wanted to talk about a little bit more, with massive controversy at the end.
Yeah, dude.
Absolutely insane stuff. For those of you who didn't see, Arsenal kind of get another little scrappy goal there to take the lead.
Surprise.
3rd minute, Leandro Trossard. And then, like I said, huge controversy at the end. West Ham doing everything they can to just force the ball over the line. They seemingly do. Well, they do get the ball over the line and just kind of a ping pong of a play there. And then in the VAR review, it was deemed to be a foul on the goalkeeper, Raya. Huge controversy just because of the amount of time VAR took to make this decision. Also with plenty of other fouls, really on both sides, but especially on Arsenal players fouling West Ham players in the build-up. Just kind of all came to a head. Didn't make things any better when they released the VAR back and forth, I guess, in the 5 minutes or so. I don't know if you had a chance to see that yesterday. But yeah, pretty wild stuff coming out of this game. Obviously, West Ham trying to save their season as well by trying to get out of the relegation zone. So big time stakes for them as well.
Yeah, big result, like crazy result for both sides, like you just alluded to. Like, one's trying to stay in the Prem, one's trying to win the Prem. And this is why we love how this works. Like, USA, America, catch on. Like, this is why it's good, because you have one team, like both teams playing for something. Obviously, they're both completely different things, but like, if it was like an American sport, it definitely would have been like West Ham just trying to, like, ruin the day for Arsenal, but that's not a whole lot to play for at the end of the day. But I did see all the controversy, dude, and I don't know, man. He was fouled. Let's put it out there. He was fouled, but like when there's a lot of other things not being called and being let go, especially when it comes to corner kicks and free kicks in general, like I mean, talk about a little bit lucky on your guys' part. That could have easily just been, you know, chalked up to the, a scrum for the ball. And yeah, West Ham comes away with a very agonizing result against Arsenal, but this keeps your title hopes alive, right?
I mean, yeah, I mean, incredibly,
Gotta.
incredibly lucky on our end. The reason that Pablo is even in that situation to begin with is because he's getting just kind of tugged around by several Arsenal players. We got
Right.
Gabriel trying to pull him down. We got Leandro Trossard with both hands around his waist. I mean, there's just a huge melee of bodies in there, which is kind of insane to like say, oh yeah, there's a definite foul right here when there's basically 24 not 24, I'm sorry, 22 players in the box there just kind of
Yeah.
trying to get to the ball. But obviously you have Declan Rice pulling down a West Ham defender. You had I don't even remember who our other player was. There was just a blatant foul as well. So it's just kind of trying to figure out, like, did those happen before the goalkeeper foul? Did those happen, off the ball, whatever? And then you obviously have the goalkeeper, which, like you said, was a foul. But it's like, you know, is Pablo really, like, how much of it is his fault? All this stuff is going on. After the VAR review, I thought it was a little bit interesting. Like, they're obviously telling him, hey, look at Declan Rice, look at Trossard, look at, X, Y, and Z, but then they're not giving him a great angle either. That's kind of like behind. So you can kind of
Right.
see like where he's coming from there, but just the quickness of how he was just like, yeah, I'm fine with that, and just kind of focused on the goalie situation was a little sus. But the thing that's most ironic to me, and like I will fully admit as a a red-blooded Arsenal fan, the entire reason we're in this situation being at the top of the table is because we have benefited from fighting and bumping and blocking the goalkeeper all season long. And for that to be, that contact on Raya to be deemed as offensive and the reason that we might win the title altogether
Right.
is kind of insane to me and just kind of crazy. I was like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, the way that they've been calling our stuff all year and giving, letting us play and block goalies and all kinds of stuff, they're gonna deem that to be a goal, and like nothing, nothing that's a deemed to be a foul there. So I thought for sure that they were gonna give that to be a West Ham goal, and we'd be, walking away with a tie. But yeah, just insane that they called that, just given how they've been reffing stuff all year, and obviously the immediate outrage by everyone online, all the Arsenal haters. And it's just funny that like seemingly every other team in the league has, a clip of us scoring from a corner because we're blocking the other team's keeper. So I'm not,
Yeah.
naive enough to not realize that we've been benefiting from that all day long and see the irony in us benefit, like maybe even winning the league title off one that's called, in our favor. And I think like obviously I'm on here all the time talking bad about Arteta, but like he in his press conferences, bro, he's such a hypocrite going on there being like, today I really realized how hard of a job the referees have and how hard VAR is and all this stuff. I'm like, you berate referees on
All
every,
the
like,
time.
seemingly every game because we're not getting this call, we're not getting that call, we're not this, we're not that. And then like
All
we
the
get
time.
one that's huge in our favor and he's like, I really understand why and all this stuff.
Exactly.
And that's coming off the back of, all the dark arts that we talked about last week, I guess never got
All
aired.
the
But
time.
yeah, so it's just, yeah, it's pretty insane, but top of the table, we'll take the 3 points, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
One step
regardless,
closer.
one step closer, obviously, and needed all 3 points because we got Manchester City coming in with two back-to-back 3-goal wins.
Yeah.
Obviously, against inferior competition, today's game definitely, like, they threw out their B squad in today's game, but handling Brentford, who is usually a scrappy side after Thomas Frank
They
left,
were good
they
in the
haven't been
first half.
as
I'll
good.
give them that.
Yeah, yeah, and so was Crystal Palace. Again, I think I said it off pod to you, but like Crystal Palace definitely had a lot of really good chances, especially a really good one at the beginning that Donnarumma kept out. But when you're playing their B squad, it's like, well, you better have chances. You're a Premier League freaking side. Like, if you can't handle Manchester City's B squad, then you probably shouldn't be in the Premier League. But yeah, like I said, good for Arsenal getting this result. But how we feel about Man City creeping in, obviously winning that game in hand that they had that we've been talking about for the last several weeks. How we feeling
Yeah.
after today's result?
Yeah, I mean, still, it's all up to us. I've had several Arsenal buddies text me about Man City this, Man City that. I was like, we're not worried about, like, we're just focused on us. All we have to do is win these last two games against Burnley and Crystal Palace, and we're fine. Like, we don't, like, we're only worried about us. There's no excuses at this point. I don't want to hear anything about, especially after we were gifted that West Ham dub. Like, I don't want to hear any more excuses about anything. Like, we just need to win and we're done. Like, stop, score watching on the other side, even though obviously we're aware of what Man City is doing, and it is dangerous because if we slip up anywhere, they now have the goal difference advantage on us too with these back-to-back 3-0 dubs, which
Yeah.
I kind of knew was going to happen. Like, even when we were kind of creeping up there, like had a little bit of an advantage when we were tied on points with them, like I knew that they were going to beat these teams by 3 and 4 goals. It's just Man City are too good. Like you said, they rolled out a B squad just because they had to rotate somewhere in these last 3 or 4 games. And rolled out a B squad and still crushed Palace. So yeah, I still feel good. Burnley's already relegated, so except for the hatred of Arsenal, they really have nothing to play for. And then same with Crystal Palace, they're pretty locked into where they're at in mid-table right now. I don't think they're even really challenging from Europe at this point, and they're safe from relegation. So not much to play for those two teams. But as a experienced Arsenal fan, it can all come crashing down. Yeah, just nervously going to watch these last couple games we have, and Champions League final we have in there too. So it'll be interesting to see if we rotate it all. But yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of relegation, like you just kind of alluded to with Crystal Palace, like obviously they're not in it, but Tottenham is, and this could be a really good season for Arsenal. Like imagine winning the league and Tottenham gets relegated.
Yeah,
And
league
they
won't
didn't.
let it though, apparently.
No, probably not. Tottenham has way too much money involved in the Premier League for them to let them go down. But Tottenham not helping themselves at all. Tie leads over the weekend with some VAR controversy. Is this what you sent me? I actually didn't watch this game,
Yeah.
but was it so in replay it's like onside, but when they put the graphic on it to do, he was clearly onside, so it was
Yeah,
like
they're
what
basically
are we
moving
looking
the
at?
foot from the place that it was when they freeze frame it on live to where they go to that graphic where it's all like digitized or whatever, where they're
Mhm.
moving stuff. Which I've never really said this like on the pod or anything, but like I've wondered about like how easily they could easily like manipulate stuff super
Oh,
quickly
so
on those
easily.
reviews to where they're just like they take an image and like you could just so easily put a foot or a part of a hand or whatever just slightly off and then just broadcast that and be like, oh yeah, it's offside. Like that stuff's super easy, in today's day and age to just kind of manipulate. And it's
Oh
seemingly
yeah.
what happened in this game is, Leeds, I think they ended up scoring off this particular play. But like I said, freeze frame had one thing. He looked onside, and then the digitized version, like, I mean, he's by like a toe offside. So like
Mhm.
minimal of minimalist, um, you know, of margins. He was called offside. So, I don't know if you had a chance to see that clip that I sent you, but what do you got to say about seemingly some help on Tottenham's side as well from the VAR crew?
I didn't watch I saw the picture of what you sent me, and it kind of got the idea of what you were talking about, and then I saw some other things online. My biggest takeaway is I am 100% with you. Like, if they wanted to change things, and I'm not sitting here saying they did, but the league definitely does not want Tottenham to go down. Take that
Mm-hmm.
for what you will. Take that, as you will. But whether there's things going on or not, it wouldn't probably be the first time, but it would be incredibly easy for them to take a call like this and flip it and give Tottenham even more help because they
Yeah.
apparently need all the help that they can get tying leads over the weekend. So it's going to be a
Yeah.
struggle for them to really stay up. They're on their way to they're above it's them and West Ham, right, that are
Yeah. They're
fighting for
they're
that
2 points above West Ham right now.
and one weekend left. Is that it?
Two
One
two
game,
weekends.
two weekends left. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's doable. It's doable for sure. But if they're
Yeah.
getting help like this, it's definitely going to happen that they'll stay up. But
Yeah.
just very interesting for
And just
sure.
in a chaotic weekend of VAR and refs and all that stuff,
Right.
somebody dug up like an old, going back to Arsenal a little bit, an old video of just some suit. I don't even know his name really. Just one of the higher up execs of the Premier League, basically admitting that they don't want like repeat champions year after year. Like they want to like spice it up and have somebody new, almost every year, kind of like what
Just let
the
it play out. Yeah.
NFL, NBA does. So like obviously that's throwing fuel on the fire for Arsenal, and then like with Tottenham needing all the money that not just Tottenham bring as a club, but also the stadium, the new stadium that they have, and all that. So, yeah, a lot of money involved for sure. So you're thinking that it's corrupt is probably not out of the realm of possibility. But speaking of
Yeah.
corruption,
Yeah.
Barcelona easily brushing
Dude,
aside a reeling Real Madrid team 2-0 to
easy.
secure a second straight title. This one hasn't really been in doubt for really several weeks. Real Madrid not looking up to the task of winning the league title this year, and Barca really just kind of kicking it into gear in the league. So yeah, pretty. I don't know if you had a chance. I only watched like bits and pieces of it just because I kind of knew it was going to happen. They kind of went up
Mm-hmm.
early. I kind of had a feeling that Real Madrid wasn't going to put up too much of a fight, but I don't know if you had a chance to see the El Clasico. It also just doesn't feel like the Clasico anymore, and it doesn't quite
No.
have the vigor and the like. People are just kind of chumming it up, whatever. And there's not, the edge that there used to be, I guess.
I know the world used to stop for El Clasico, even if you weren't. It was almost like it was like a mini World Cup where like people who didn't even care about soccer turned into this game because it's like you have both goats, like arguably two of the best, if not two of the best that have ever played this game on opposing sides. Already a heated rivalry, and then you just inject that into it. Must watch TV, dude. I miss it so much. I was telling my wife because obviously it was Mother's Day. And I posted a reel about like, joking like, all the times you've asked to go golfing and asked your wife to go golfing has led to this moment to like watch El Clasico on Mother's Day. She's like, "So you're gonna want to watch this?" I was like, "No, I was just joking," because it's like, I told her I was like, if this was back in like the Messi Ronaldo, like, yeah, we're sitting down and watching it, but with it being this way and like the only thing that really could happen, like Barca won and they won the league, but even if they lost, they still would have had another chance to win the league. So it's like there
Yeah, I
were
mean,
really no stakes, and Real Madrid's been
exactly.
very poor this year, and Barca's just been better than them. I wouldn't even say Barca's been like all that great this year. They're just better than a bad Real Madrid.
And
And
they've only won the
good.
league. Like they kind of went out early in the Copa, kind of got dusted in the champs as well. So not a great season by Barca's high standards either.
Yeah. And super quickly on this, not to belabor it, but one, feel bad for Hansi Flick. He actually lost his dad the day of that morning. His dad and
Wow.
passed away. And so he still coached the game, won the league with La Liga, and then obviously won the league with Barca, not La Liga. Anyways, and then he flew
Maybe it
home to
was with La
Germany to
Liga
be with
too.
his. But then he then he flew home, and obviously he's going to be with his family now since his father passed. Secondly, I saw this stat, and obviously it's ESPN trying to praise Lamine Yamal, trying to put him up with Cristiano
Gosh, here we
Ronaldo,
go.
but
Here we go.
did not realize that Ronaldo only had 2 La Liga titles with Real Madrid in his stint with Real Madrid. That was
Sure
absolutely
did.
wild to me. Like he has 6. How many did he have? 5 with Real Madrid. 5 Champions Leagues? No, only like 3. He had 3,
Four
4.
with Madrid and one with United.
That's right. But like absolutely crazy. I was like, dude, he was there for what? 7, 8, 9 years, and
9 years.
like,
Yep.
and he only won 2 out of that entire time. Like obviously you would take the Champions Leagues over the La Liga, but
Yeah.
like I mean I know Barca was a wagon back then, but still like those Real Madrid teams back then, dude, were disgusting. And him not only having 2 out of 9 years was crazy. Like it didn't even
Yeah.
compute in my mind.
Yeah, Barca always kind of prioritized La Liga a lot more than Madrid did. Madrid were, I mean, they especially early on in his career there, they went through that thing where they hadn't won the Champions League in like 10 or 15 years. That's why they were going so hard after the Galacticos. So they like all their focus for really the first 3, 4, 5 seasons there was on the Champions League. Obviously, that's not saying they shouldn't have won probably more La Ligas, but like you said, Barca was absolute wagon. That's kind of when they were at their peak, especially like in the MSN days. Like MSN, like people forget that MSN was kind of created before BBC. Like the BBC kind of came kind of a little bit later after that. So yeah, Barca were definitely kind of dominating during that time as well. But yeah, so
Yeah. So good for Barca. Obviously, I root for Barca not as hard as I did when Messi was there, and the rivalry kind of changed and everything. But good for them winning the league. Really quickly, we wanted to touch on this too because it's Sam's Romanian boy. Inter Milan wins Serie A first year with, how do you say his name? Is it Chivu? Is that his
Kivu.
name? Kivu. Dang it!
Close enough.
No, it's not. Stop. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
That's how all the freaking British announcers say it.
Freaking Chivu.
Christian
What'd you say?
Kivu.
Kivu, your Romanian boy, obviously an Inter legend, winning the league in his first season as manager with Inter Milan. Huge for Inter Milan. They're a little bit of a wagon now as well. They obviously won it in the 23-24 season. They won it 2021. So the past, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3 out of the last 6. That's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a resurgence here after a pretty barren 10 years there in the 2010s. But yeah, he's the first manager in Inter Milan's history to win the Serie A in his first season, and only the third one in their history to win as both a player and a coach. So
really, that's
some pretty
cool.
pretty good company to keep there. And Inter Milan went trophyless last season. Obviously bounced in the final of the Champions League, lost the league to Napoli. I'm blanking on who won the Copa last year, but yeah, very good bounce back season for them to get a double here, domestic double.
Yeah, super huge for Inter Milan. Really like Inter Milan. Thought they were going to do better in the Champions League this year as well. Had that little blip against Bodo Glimt, but ended up having a good season otherwise. Before we kind of switch gears to basketball, we do need to touch on the World Cup because it is 1 month away here on US soil. Sammy Boy and I were kind of talking about it today. Obviously, still super hype. It's the World Cup, happens every 4 years. But it just seemed like over time, like, I don't know, what did you say today when we were texting? What was the last one that really felt like Russia, wasn't it? That was kind of the last one. Yeah. 2018 was kind of the last one that really felt special, felt like a World Cup. To me, it's more like we've grown up, and like 2018, I had just graduated high school. So, you're able to like watch every game and you're not doing much unless you're like, you have like a part-time job during the summer or whatever, getting ready for college or whatnot. So like it was kind of the last one that I was able to enjoy in full. And then obviously life hits, and then you got work, and it's like, you got games all day long, but you got to work 8-10 hours at your job. And so then you get to catch the ones that are on later. And so to me, that's kind of taken away from it. But you did say a few things that I thought were really key about like why it just doesn't feel the same anymore. And I didn't know if you wanted to reiterate some of that real quickly, just because I thought they were great points and it made perfect sense.
Yeah, basically, I was just saying that I feel like a lot of the reasons that the World Cups just don't hit the same. I think some of it is kind of what you were saying. Obviously, we are kind of more grown up now, and stuff. But a lot of it's just the overall. I know it sounds weird, but just the vibes of the tournament. Like in the three World Cups that I really distinctly remember, obviously South Africa, then we had Brazil, and then Russia as well. Like they all had super unique components to make them super special. Obviously the South Africa one being the first one in Africa. You had the vuvuzelas that kind of made it unique, and then obviously so many epic games and everything. Spain's first World Cup and things like that. Just so many different storylines. Brazil 2014. It goes without saying, I don't think there's a better host country that there could be than Brazil.
Yeah.
And obviously you have the story of Brazil, and then the 7-1, and then just like all of that. And again, immaculate vibes as well. And then 2018 as well, like their own little twist on it with just the branding and things like that, which I thought was super unique. And then obviously it helped that the host country went, I think, all the way to the quarters, so they're kind of lightning in a bottle there. Croatia going far, just little storylines like that make it super special. But I think it's all super cheapened now with obviously Qatar getting it, just kind of money grab for FIFA. Obviously, they didn't have any, stadiums even built before that. Had to build a whole bunch of stadiums, and there's all the corruption, all the people dying from building the stadiums. Qatar being terrible as a footballing nation doesn't help. And then the one in the United States. Obviously, I'm pumped that we're hosting. I think that's super dope. But it's super corporatized. Like that's all I've been seeing really in lead up to. Like there's no hype around the games or like any of the
No.
the lead up to the World Cup. It's all just like, oh, look at these ticket prices. Oh, look what these different cities are doing because like they're wanting to maximize profit from the World Cup. And then beyond that, you have like the expansion of the World Cup. We have like freaking 50 teams now. Everybody gets in. You got like all these kind of trash teams in there like Curacao and Haiti. Like nothing against them, but like why are they really even in the
Why?
World
Yeah.
Cup when you got Italy sitting at home? Granted, Italy, that's their own fault, but. And then, like, the last thing I'll say, like, I'm super, super against co-hosts. It should be one country, like, that's the whole point. Like, there's, like,
Mhm.
to get a taste of the culture, to get a taste of, what it's like to have X country host. Like, that's what's been so cool. But, like, really, the next 2 or 3 World Cups, like, we're all going to have co-hosts. I think the next one is, like, Morocco, Spain, and Portugal, and then the one after that
Mhm.
is like Turkey and England. I don't even know. There's like, and there's not even like a cohesive like. Okay, it's just this section. Like I think one of them is like literally like Turkey, and then like somebody from like way over. Like they're not even connected really by anything. It's just like what is going on here. The only thing that gives me really hope is that I really felt like Euro 2024 in Germany, like that felt like a special tournament. Obviously, the
Mhm.
Euros I feel like are really special anyway, being from Europe and everything, but a lot of good teams. Germany was like a super, super good host. Every game felt special. You still had like the just that feeling of it being like a huge tournament, just the vibes around it. Again, I keep saying branding, but like that really is like how like when I see a video of the 2018 World Cup, I know it's the 2018 World Cup just by
Mhm.
the jerseys, just by like the score ticker and everything. Like all that stuff is super unique and iconic. But like I feel like we're just getting farther and farther away from that where nothing really feels all that special. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more, and I agreed earlier, and I agree even more now. But yeah, hopefully it can like as it gets closer and the games start mattering more, like talking about the matchups, like the different groups and stuff like that, we can get more hype for it. But I think lastly, before we kind of switch gears here, what kind of bums me out is like we got all excited when it was going to be in the US and we're like, dude, we got to go to a game and we got to experience it because we will never get to like again. But then all the working class just got absolutely priced out because of all the ridiculous, ticket prices and obviously all the stuff going down with the hotels, and I'm sure everything's going to be more expensive around it. And good for people, like it's a free country, good for people, making money and finding a way to do that. But when it's so outrageous and you're absolutely pricing out anybody that wants to really enjoy it other than the super elites and these rich people that have the money to do it, that's just going to cheapen the game in my eyes. And yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to having a World Cup where it's in a nation that values soccer. That's part of the reason that it's like this is because it's the US, man. Like whether you want to hype it up or not and say soccer's growing in this country, it's never going to touch what it is in Europe or South America or any place like that in the world that really values it, really knows that it's more about the game. It's not about making all this outrageous money and just everything just being a money grab. So again, just I echo everything that Sam said, and again, hope like it's gonna be hype. We're gonna get to watch, maybe probably Messi and Ronaldo go at it one last time. Low key rooting for Ronaldo to see if he can actually get one done with a really good Portugal side. Hopefully, the U.S. can do something special on home soil. Not holding my breath on that, but it's gonna be a great it's going to be a great tournament regardless, whether we have to watch it on our TVs or actually get to cop some tickets or something. Sammy and Boy are going to try to maybe go to a game and stand outside and interview some people for some content, but um, we will see. Speaking of America, speaking of sports, we got some NBA playoffs going on right now, kind of switching gears right here. Your Thunder getting it done, huh?
Get the brooms out, boy.
It was never a
Sweep,
doubt.
sweep.
Never a doubt. I stayed up way too late to watch Game 4 because that game was a lot closer than I thought it'd be. LeBron kept him in the game. Austin Reeves had a little bit of a better game, but at the end of the day, y'all were just better, man. Like, it's really your finals to lose, man. That's just how I see it. How about you?
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, obviously I feel really great about my Thunder. Yeah, I just want to say one thing too about all the whiny Lakers fans too, like, and even the players. Obviously they had that little get together, a little coming together with the refs after game, I want to say game 2, game 3, somewhere in there.
No, it's 2.
I think it was 2. About all the calls and all this stuff, and we're not getting refed right, yada yada yada. Literally the next game, they shot 15 more free throws than us, and we still swept them.
Still
swept them. It was like 131 to 110. It was like 20-point difference. I was like, y'all don't have anything to complain about now. Obviously, this is a Luka-less Lakers, so it does, there's a little bit, I won't say an asterisk, but yeah, I don't think he, would have made that much of a difference just because as much of a big Luka fan as I am, I will say that he provides nothing on the defensive end of the court. And if we were able to stifle Luka, that's kind of their whole offensive game at that point. So big time summer for the Lakers coming up with LeBron. Is he coming back? Is he possibly going to go somewhere else? Are they going to re-sign AR for all the money that he wants? Or are they just going to kind of embrace a rebuild around Luka? So a lot of question marks around the Lakers, but super pumped from my Thunder. It just feels so good to sweep the Lakers, dude. Also 8-0 on the postseason. Boy, let's go.
Wagon, dude. I think that's the biggest reason people don't like you is because you're good. Like, there's a
we're
foul
filthy, dude.
baiting and flopping. Like, sure, we can put up with it if you're like the freaking Suns or something, but like you're literally in my opinion, about to be the back-to-back champ, starting your dynasty, and that's part of the reason you guys get so much hate. It's like, if you're good, people are going to just hate that much more, and then if you have something that actually is annoying, it's just going to blow up even more than it does. But the rabbit hole I want to go down is, does LeBron come back? Do you think that he retires, or do you think he's obviously got a little more left, but what do you think as of now?
I don't think he retires because he's too much of a self-centered player. I'll just leave it at that. That I don't think he goes out without
on the pod.
Yeah. I don't think he does. He goes out without like, oh, guys, this is my last season. This is a farewell tour where every game, like in every away arena, is his last time at X Stadium and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't think that he goes out without that. Whether or not it's going to be at the Lakers, like, I kind of have my doubts. I feel like for a couple of years now, they've been kind of trying to find the off-ramp as far as their time with LeBron. I think going back to Cleveland for like a third time would be kind of a little bit redundant, but I could see him doing that. But at the same time, I don't see him leaving LA because he's created so much of his life there over the last 7-8 years. But other than that, I don't know where he could go that would make sense, honestly. I mean, I don't see him going back to Miami. I really don't see a team for him to and it would just be weird for him to go somewhere other than the Lakers or the Cavs, really. So I'm not really sure, but I do think he comes back.
Yeah, I mean, kind of going down the not controversy, but like the conspiracy road. Summer's tying him to Golden State. Like, he's always wanted to play with Steph in the NBA, and a lot of people are thinking what Golden State needs to do, because they've totally obliterated their future and need to hold on to their picks. But if you got it wouldn't work, but it would sell tickets for sure. Yeah. But KD's time with the Rockets is going to be cut short because all that's kind of going down badly. There's some bad blood there. They're really going to go heavy after Kawhi if they don't get Giannis. But a lot of people are linking Giannis with the Celtics, which they have enough to offer. They do have enough to offer Milwaukee for Giannis, and Giannis would want to go somewhere where he could win another championship right away. Mm-hmm. But LeBron's really interested in playing with Steph. Kevin Durant hasn't won championship since he left Golden State. He knows the system. He knows Steph. He knows Kerr. And then people are saying Klay Thompson and his time with the Mavs should be over and he should go back to Golden State, retire as a Warrior.
What are we doing here? Is freaking 2K or what?
Well, that's what people are saying. Like, everybody's aging, so you don't have to pay them a lot. If LeBron walks, he would be a free agent, so you wouldn't be paying him much. So they would be able to do it just based on everybody's age. Now, would it work on a basketball court? Would anybody play defense? Probably not, but you would sell a lot of tickets, and it would be fun to watch.
Yeah, you would
it.
sell a lot of tickets, and it'd be cool to relive whatever the Warriors had going on. But I could see that ending so badly, dude, where
Terribly.
they don't even. I mean, they might squeak in as a play-in, they might have enough for that, but I could see them being so bad with just all those aging guys. I mean, you're hinging your season on a 39-year-old Steph Curry at that point, 42-year-old LeBron James. I'm assuming they'll still have Draymond Green on the roster. All those guys are just so freaking old. So I could see that ending so badly. I'm just also just super tired of LeBron trying to hitch his wagon to Steph Curry. He's constantly talking about him during that, that Olympic run. It was cool to see them play together, but he was so obviously trying to aura farm with Steph and just kind of trying to be all whatever with him. So I could see him going there, I guess. Actually, I kind of forgot about the Warriors when I said I couldn't see him going anywhere else. That's definitely, an option. I don't see Clay going back unless I think they do one or the other. I could see Clay coming back if they don't get LeBron, but I don't see Clay coming back and they get LeBron and this and that. So
yeah.
And are they gonna is LeBron's contract up or does he have one more year?
I believe so. No, I think it's up.
Okay, so they wouldn't have to trade anything for him. The Warriors wouldn't.
And I think that's kind of the biggest reason that the Warriors would do it is because, I said, they have their future's completely shot because a lot of the players that they drafted and probably should have kept didn't work with Kerr, or Kerr didn't want to work with them. Let's put it that way. Kuminga's low-key thriving in Atlanta. He's going to have a great career with Atlanta, and they're going to love him there. But the picks that they have now, they're going to want to hold on to him. But KD would be free. You wouldn't have to trade for him. LeBron, you wouldn't have to trade picks for him. Klay Thompson, you wouldn't have to trade for him. The only people you might have to give up players and stuff for would be Kawhi. But other than that, that's the whole reason they would do it, is they would be able to get all of these older superstars for basically free and then just pay them the veteran minimum or something to play with Steph, and they would be able to keep most of their picks.
They're legitimately talking about getting all four of those players at once.
I don't know if they are, but it's what people are speculating because they're really heavily linked to getting Kawhi. And then if LeBron doesn't retire but wants to go somewhere, he's obviously wanted to play with Steph, so they link him there. I don't see the Kevin Durant, but I've just seen people talking about it. But I would see Kevin going somewhere else. And then the Klay Thompson, I just think, why wouldn't you go back at this point? You don't want to just start team hopping this late in your career. Yeah. Go back to some place where you could come off you're coming off the bench with the Mavs anyway, so might as well do it in a system with your best friend Steph Curry. And I don't know.
I could see Klay taking a vet min, but I don't think Kawhi or LeBron or KD really are going to do that because LeBron has very clearly shown that he's not going to be taking any less dollars than he's gonna get. Kawhi kind of the same. That's why I think he's going to be a Clipper probably till he retires. He's from LA. There's no expectation there. Clippers are just the Clippers, and he's just going to be a really good two-way player that gets hurt for half the year. KD, I don't know. I guess I could see him going back to the Warriors, but his legacy, dude, it's kind of so shot that he's just going to.
There's nothing salvaging it at this point.
Nah. Yeah. But yeah, super interesting. I guess off season for the Warriors, but that'd be wild if they got even just two of those players.
Yeah, it would be, but I feel it all implode in year one, especially with all the stuff Draymond's been saying.
I was about to bring that up. Have you seen all the Draymond, Steve Kerr talk going on?
Yeah, obviously this happened a few days ago before Steve Kerr re-upped his or signed an extension for 2 years with the Warriors, but Draymond literally coming out and just saying he hindered me. I don't even know if Steve Kerr actually likes me, yada, yada, yada. And a lot of people speculated that he was saying that because Steve Kerr was going to get fired. Nope. Ended up signing an extension, back for 2 more years. Right, so leave it to Draymond to just make things worse in the locker room, which is what he does well. Which is why I think it would absolutely implode. He would try to be buddies with LeBron. LeBron would want to be buddies with Steph. Kevin Durant would just be I don't know. It would just, I don't think it would work at all. But yeah, Draymond's been on a heater.
Well, that's why
lately.
they ain't getting KD anymore because Draymond ran him out of town.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah. What I saw Austin Rivers' rebuttal, and I couldn't have agreed more with everything that he said. I mean, every single word was right on the money. I mean,
Mhm.
I've never been a Steve Kerr, necessarily a believer. I don't think he's made anybody better. I don't think he develops very well. But he's obviously
Mm-mm.
put together a pretty good game plan for Steph and Clay those early years. But what Austin Rivers was basically saying was that, like, how dare you go against a coach who, like,
Yeah.
yeah, you were a decent player in college, but there's no way that an offense built around you was ever going to win an NBA title. You've literally mooched off the legacies of two of the best shooters of all time in Steph
Yeah.
and Clay by passing the ball and screening to them. Like, you have 4 championships. You're going to go to the Hall of Fame off screening illegally most of the time and passing the ball to Steph Curry. Like,
Yeah.
shut up, dude. Like, what an idiot, bro.
I
And then he did
yeah.
all that right before he went on the roast with Kevin Hart. So he just opened himself up to all of this hate. Like, what an
Yeah.
idiot, dude. Goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know what he's thinking.
And he ran KD out of town when they had a freaking OP roster that should have never happened because of the salary cap rules. Holy.
Yeah, for real. Like, bro, you guys could have literally won 6, 7, or 8 championships if that team stayed together, but then he punched the second coming of Stephen Curry in
Yep.
the face and had him run out of town. And so, yeah, abs- absolutely ridiculous. He
Andrew
annoys the
Wiggins
heck out of me.
left allegedly because of him, too.
Yeah, yeah. I would leave. I couldn't put up with Draymond Green, but yeah, I don't know. He's just making that locker room just way too toxic for anybody's liking at this point. Like, I don't like Steph's only there because he's the face of Golden State. Otherwise, he probably would have left already as well. So, but with that being said, it's gonna be an interesting offseason for both teams,
Yeah.
Lakers and
Huge rabbit
Warriors.
trail there.
Huge
Goodness.
rabbit trail, took it down real far there. Obviously, Thunder sweep the Lakers, not much of a series, but a really, really good series going down. Wolves versus Spurs. They were they
Spurs
were
up
tied
3-2.
2-2. They're up 3-2. Okay. I was like looking at the doc, I was like 2-2, but I'm like they just played, so I was like, whatever. But game was it game 3? Wemby got ejected? Game 4?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Wemby getting ejected for literally winding up and elbowing Naz Reid right in the jaw, like the most blatant flagrant two that I've ever seen. And I didn't like. I know that he's a competitor, Wemby is, but like I was like, I didn't think he had that in him.
Yeah, that
And when I
looked
saw that, I
pretty
was like,
intentional, didn't it?
yeah, super lucky not to get suspension. That would have changed the whole entire just mentality of this entire series because the Spurs are definitely very different with Wemby off the floor.
I'm kind of glad they didn't suspend him, even though they probably should have, just because, I mean, who wants to watch that? So, unless he's like absolutely just, you know, killing somebody, like I feel like, in the playoffs, I'm fine
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, this being one of the best series going down right now, obviously, like we just said, Spurs are actually up 3-2 after winning in blowout fashion last night. Wolves have a good team, but really, like we've talked about before, not to go down another rabbit trail, but just to mention that they're built to beat the Nuggets, and they did that. And now, once they get into the next rounds and they're not built for the teams that they're playing, they kind of look more average. Like when they play the Nuggets, they look like they could win the whole thing. But then when they
Yeah.
play anybody else, it's like, well, nope, you're below average, and
I told
everybody
you,
else
bro,
is just
Nuggets
better
are
than
their
them.
championship every year. They talk all that talk and play really good against the Nuggets, but
Yeah,
then when they gotta beat a true championship contender, they kind of fall flat. Obviously, you were kind of basically crowning my Thunder a little bit earlier, but I will say I'm a little bit nervous for this Spurs squad if they make it through to the conference finals, just because they had our number in the regular season. I think I want to say we split with them, or maybe they won 3 games and we won 1, something like that. But they were definitely our equal for sure in most of those games. When you got a unicorn like Wemby, yeah, makes a guy like me a little bit nervous. But I'm assuming you have the Spurs closing this one out against the T Wolves.
yeah. I don't think the T Wolves have enough. They're kind of running Rudy Gobert off the floor. When he's in there, they just shoot more threes, and they just pull. What they do is they pull Wemby out, and then it just pulls Gobert out of the paint, and they can get down to the paint and at will with their guards, and they just really don't have an answer for
Yeah,
that.
crazy how Rudy looks average again after he's not playing Jokic. Like, he only pulls up for Jokic too.
I know, dude. It's crazy. They really just show up against the Nuggets. Absolutely crazy. This is one of the better series. Obviously, we got the Spurs coming out on top anyways. Another really good series going down tonight, game 5. Pistons versus Cavs. Series currently tied. The Pistons are, I think I just looked at it. Pistons are up 92
Up
to
3, yeah.
89 with 6 minutes left in the fourth. Be interesting to see how that one goes down. Peter's actually at this game. Told us that he was bought some
Oh
tickets
yeah, forgot about that.
to the Detroit game. So good for him being there. I would love to go. You've been to an NBA game, haven't you? You
I've
went and
been to
watched
several,
Luka
but I've
in
never
Charlotte.
been to a playoff game, so that'd be pretty hype.
Yeah, that's got to be pretty hype. We both had the Pistons coming out of this one. Do you think they actually still get it done, even though the Cavs seem to actually be putting up a fight now?
I think so. I think, with Mitchell and Harden actually came to play. It was either last game or the game before. I still think that their DNA is just destined for playoff, heartbreak. So I think Detroit will win this one. I think they'll squeak out a one at the Cavs to finish it in 6.
Yeah, I would love to see Cade move on to the next round, dude. Would
love it, dude.
absolutely be absolutely awesome.
I would just love to see a Pistons Knicks conference finals too,
Yes.
rather than a Cavs Knicks.
Oh yeah, for sure. Super old school matchup, which is a good segue into the last series that ended. Knicks sweeping 76ers, kind of in like handled them, dude. Like there were a couple games there where they just absolutely blew them out in like the first half and just kept rolling from there. Knicks are looking good. I know there were some doubts coming into the playoffs, but the Knicks are flying right now and really they could beat the Cavs or the Pistons. So I think they have a really good shot to make the finals for the first time in forever. I don't even know. I'd have to look that up.
Since the 90s, since Patrick Ewing,
since the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
but
think the Knicks make it all the way?
I don't know. If they play the Pistons, I think that one might go 6 or 7. So like I
can see that.
I mean obviously they have a chance. Like they've got a really good squad. They're finally fully healthy in the postseason at this point in the postseason in a little while. I feel like they've kind of been knocking on the door, but always something, either a playoff choke or like somebody's not healthy or whatever that kind of prevents them from being there. But yeah, I definitely think that they have a chance. But I think if they get the Cavs, that they'll beat the Cavs, but the Pistons, I'm not so sure about that one. But Sixers, dude, they never really, like, except for game 2, all these were blowouts from beginning. I mean, they were up like freaking 45 points in that game 4. I was like, y'all didn't even come to play. Spend all that energy beating the Celtics in 6 games, I guess. They didn't have anything left to go in the second round.
I guess not. Did Embiid even played like a little bit in this series too? Like I know he was nursing a bit of.
He's been playing.
Yeah, he was out like for a few games or something, and
he's been balling,
I kept thinking
too.
Yeah, he was playing really. Dude, when Embiid's on the floor, like he's undoubtedly one of the best players in the NBA. Like obviously he might just always hurt, always something. So when I saw him sitting out a few games, it was like, here it is, Embiid out for another game, Embiid out for another game. But obviously kept coming back, kept fighting through it. I mean, it's the playoffs. It's win or go home. If you're not fighting through it, Tatum, what are you doing? But yeah, Knicks handle the 76ers. Even though I think the 76ers, they have some really good young talent coming up. They got Maxey and Edgecombe. They got some ballers. They got, they just fired, I did see today, they did fire their general manager. So
yeah, that's big. But
yeah, that is huge.
I mean,
honestly, trust the process guy.
Yeah.
Is that who it was? Finally got about time. Good.
I think that was him. Morey was in Houston too, so it may not have been. Anyways,
okay.
Joel Embiid, like I would literally, like at this point you have other guys that are like 1 and 2 options. Got Paul George as a solid third. I would literally just like load manage the crap out of Joel Embiid. Like he's not going to win any more MVPs. Just be done with the first team All Pros, whatever, or first team All NBAs, sorry. Like just load manage the crap out of him, sit him the whole year until like a month before the season, and then just have him play. Like he could be, because I mean after that 7-game series against Boston, he was just so broken. Like he was giving everything on the court, but you could tell like he was just every time he would go down, like his knees were shot, yada yada. So, yeah, I would sit him, create a fake injury, as much as we hate all that crap.
You'd believe it because he's always hurt.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just sit him, dude. Just be done until the playoffs.
Yeah. First 40 games, I don't want to see him beat out all. First 40 games, donezo. My goodness, that's funny. But yeah, that's a look at the NBA playoffs. Obviously, things are starting to heat up with really good teams against really good teams, which makes it even more exciting.
Correction, Daryl Morey was not the trust the process guy. That was the general manager before him. So just wanted to clarify that
Ugh.
before we had people that were 76ers fans
Well,
yelling at us.
it's very well known on the podcast that I'm a casual, so no surprise there. Anyway, something that I'm not a casual about, we don't talk a lot about during the off season, but this was of high note for sure. Going to switch it up to some basketball, college basketball now. The NCAA expands their tournament to 76 teams. What are we doing? What are we doing? This is this is textbook. Leave well enough alone. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. Don't touch it. But us Americans just can't do that, apparently. We just got to add more and more and more until it just looks absolutely ridiculous. And it's making so much money that people don't care if it's entertaining anymore. I'll kind of hand it to you first because I don't know. I'm just kind of done with it at this point, but how do you feel about it? The tournament expanding to 76 teams. 76 teams now, dude.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting in.
Yeah, same way I feel about the World Cup expanding to 48 or whatever, however many teams that they got in there now. Yeah, I mean, kind of predictable, probably opinion for me, but I hate it. I don't like it. I think it cheapens the product. You already have enough kind of trash teams getting in there as it is. Obviously exacerbated by the NFL stuff now with less and less lower seeds, winning some of the games early on. I am a little bit confused though about how the format's going to work. So obviously they're adding 8 new teams.
Right.
Is it more of like just adding more play-in games? Because like obviously if you're selected for a playing game, like yeah, you're selected for the tournament technically, but you still have to play to get into the tournament. So is it just more of those games really, and the field itself really stays the same? Or is it like, okay, we're just doing away with the play-in maybe altogether, or keeping the play-in as it is and like expanding the actual tournament so there's more like at-large teams getting in? Do you know? Or
I believe I'm kind of looking it up now. I was of the mind that so the tournament will add 8 teams. It's expanding the field. So I think it is making it so there will be more at-larges, which means there's probably going to be some auto bids coming out of some of the mid-major, like the below major conferences, and mid-major conferences. So, like I guess, yeah, like the bigger ones is kind of a given that you're going to have multiple like auto bids, but like now like the Mountain West is going to get probably like an auto bid or something like that, just kind of based how it's going to work out.
so the first 4, I'm reading it now. The first 4 becomes the 12-game opening round is what they're going to call it, expanding from 2 games to 6 games per day over 2 days. So the 64-team first round, I guess, remains the same theoretically. So like I was saying before, they're just going to call the play-in thing an opening round and expand that to have more teams having a chance to get in, basically, is what they're saying. So.
But some of those, like it kind of like how the other one was though too, where you had the first 4.
Yeah.
Like some of those were like auto bids too. Like Miami got an auto bid, even though they didn't win their conference.
Yeah.
But they were put in the first 4. So like you're gonna have more auto bids in that 12-game opening round. They must be trying to be more like the NBA, like kind of have like this giant play-in tournament, even though like you're technically in the tournament, even if you're like in the first 4, which I always thought was like super weird. Like just call it like a play-in tournament or whatever. But I guess they're really trying to make it more of that, kind of like what the NBA has. But I mean, you're still technically in the tournament.
I like the first 4, final 4, like play on words kind of thing that they had going on there, but I guess we're doing away with that. The only kind of positive or silver lining, I guess you could say, that I kind of came up with this is obviously more teams get in. Like there's more chances that like teams like mine, Oklahoma State, who are always on the bubble, will get in. So that's great. But also like a lot of these teams that we kind of quote unquote fall in love with over the year, like for example, Miami, Ohio, being undefeated for all that time and then almost kind of choking it away at the end, like in their conference tournament. They still got in ultimately, but like sometimes in those, group of 5 or some of these, lesser conferences, there's there's the team that wins the championship, but sometimes there's two really good teams in there and both of them can't make the
Yeah.
tournament. Or, there's one really, really good team and they, get all the way to their conference tournament final and then like somehow lose by 2 points and then they're not in. Instead, like, I feel like it opens the door for more teams like that maybe deserve a shot to get in, to maybe have a little bit more leeway for those teams to get in. But more than likely, they're just going to fill it with more SEC and ACC schools that are like freaking 14-14 getting in or whatever. But I would like to see more of those, if they're deserving. I don't mean, I don't want, podunk whoever who's like barely even deserves, as a second best team in their conference they get in. But if there's like a team that's clearly good enough to play in the tournament and just kind of like, one game here, one game there, like they're not in kind of thing because of their conference tournament rules, that they have a little bit more of a, I guess, of a forgiveness, gauge there than maybe they do right now.
Yeah. And it's looking like more and more the Cinderella is dying because I'm reading a little bit more. So the 12 lowest seeded automatic qualifiers and the 12 lowest seeded at-large teams will be playing in like that opening round tournament type thing.
So we're basically getting rid of all the Cinderellas in the opening round.
That's basically what I was getting out of what I just read.
Bro, they're ruining the tournament.
So your lowest automatic qualifiers are obviously all going to come from like your mid-majors to low major conferences. So they're all going to be in the opening round, but then the lowest at larges are going to be a lot of the like Providences and like, the lower ended had a good season, but like, maybe like mid of
So
their
basically
league.
all the teams that were used to being like 15 and 16 seeds in the tournament are going to have to start in the opening round now and play
Basically,
like
yeah.
SEC schools to get in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bruh, no way.
I know. It's really
wow.
that just
Well, in 5
from
years,
what I'm
the
reading,
tournament is going to be like no one cares about it anymore.
I know. We're just
Except
ruining
the big
everything
teams.
that we love. Everything that we love is just getting ruined, and I just hate it. I hate it. I guess like you kind of alluded to, the actual field, like once we get to like opening day, will be the same. So it'll just be, regular opening weekend, and we'll have the same amount of teams, but I guess some extra basketball. But it says, why does it matter? It's like more student athletes and teams and schools get to access to March Madness. I know, but it cheapens it if you're just letting everybody in. Like, it's not even that special because it's like, oh yeah, sure, you're just everybody
with that kind of mentality, might as well, like you said, just let everybody in. Let's let all the D3 schools come in too, just because they're student athletes also, and we need to let everyone experience a tournament game.
Oh, freaking stupid. But yeah, that literally starts next year. We don't even have like a ramp up to it. We don't like this last one we had. Remember it for what it was, because that was the last time it was ever this way. And so we say goodbye to our beloved March Madness as it slowly fades away. All right, before we end the podcast, switching gears again, off season, we don't talk about much, but football, always something going on, huh, Sammy?
Always something.
Always something. And it's usually
Especially with your
something with our
Steelers.
teams. Yeah. Especially with the Steelers. Absolute dumpster fire we are. A freaking pillar of the NFL, and we can't get our freaking act together. A-Rod's back. Kind of just keep it at that. Aaron Rodgers deciding to come back and play for the Steelers.
Contract not signed though. Anything can happen.
I was gonna say I didn't see any like pen hit paper. I didn't see a deal or anything, but I mean, I guess it's better than rolling out Drew Aller or freaking Will Howard out there. I guess. Like, if you really dive into the numbers, Aaron Rodgers had a decent season last year, and he definitely made an offense that couldn't do jack actually competent in some games. If our defense was a little any better, we were both kind of in the same boat with our teams last year. Like, just wildly that the Steelers defense was not very good, even though we paid everybody and their mother last season. But our defense is usually pretty good, usually above average, but it just seemed to be below last season. But what are your initial takeaways with A-Rod coming back and playing for the Steelers?
Yeah. Apparently, according to reports, he's going to meet with them this weekend. Maybe, hopefully, sign a contract. Maybe. But yeah, I'm like I've always kind of said I'm happy to see him play another year. I am happy it's going to be at the Steelers, kind of what you were saying, just one of those historic organizations for sure. And I just don't understand the people who think that they're, I understand maybe giving one of these younger guys like a shot, but if you like legitimately think that Drew Aller or Will Howard is going to give you a better shot to win,
That's what I'm
or like, and maybe
saying.
that's not your objective at this point. You're just trying to
Right.
move on and tank or like lose or whatever. Like if that's what you want to do, fine. Like I can get on board with that. But like as far as a winning point of view is concerned, if you genuinely think any one of these dudes, as much as I love Mason Rudolph, it's kind of a thing on this podcast, he ain't better than Aaron Rodgers either. So like,
No.
if you actually think that any of those guys are better than even current Aaron Rodgers, like, I'm sorry, like, there's nothing I can do for you. Like, what he showed last year is obviously he still has a little bit in the tank. Obviously, he's not freaking 2013 Green Bay Packers Aaron Rodgers, but he's still like an above average quarterback who, with the right supporting cast around him and a solid defense, which both of which are possibly on the table this year, I think that there can be maybe a special season in Pittsburgh, and not necessarily, it's not Super Bowl or bust in my mind, which obviously a lot of people that are fans of the Steelers, they expect every year, but I don't know why, because they haven't been to a Super Bowl in freaking 15 years. But like, yeah, I just think that, making it to the playoffs, winning a game, maybe two, you know, obviously that's asking a lot, but like, I think that could be, in the cards, I guess, for sure, for the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers, leading the ship.
Yeah, and with Big Mike there now, not
Big
the
Mike.
one we got rid of, but another Big Mike, Mike McCarthy,
The Big Mike.
the Big Mike. That's right. The offense should be better. The offense should be better. And
Yeah.
so, just with that, with our offense getting better, hopefully, obviously, Aaron Rodgers is going to be a whole year older, still can sling it, still can run an offense. As long as our defense, like you alluded to, is playing at the level that we're paying them, because we're slated to be, again, the highest paid defense in the NFL by a wide margin once again, even though all of our guys are pretty old.
Older.
Pretty old. I just don't like the fact that we got rid of Kenneth Gainwell too. Like, I mean, I know we got Pittman,
Right.
but like we're just left with Warren. Like,
Pretty much.
I don't know. I don't like our running back situation at
It's all
all. We
right.
got
It's
that.
still May. You guys still got some time, but
We do still have some time. But
the biggest thing with the A-Rod and Mike McCarthy situation is I think that's interesting because a lot of people are like, oh, it ended badly in Green Bay, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, but that was also like legitimately 10 years ago. It was like 2016, 2017, somewhere around there. So like not only has a lot happened since then, but like probably both men have matured a lot too, and seen that they had some of their best years of both of their careers with each other. So not only being able to realize that some of that stuff, let bygones be bygones, and some of their, maybe more masculine maturity will kick in, and both realize that they're maybe a little bit better with one another, even though they are both obviously quite a bit older than they were in their Packers days. But last thing I'll say about it is that I don't know why you guys don't lean into the whole Mike McCarthy thing a little bit more, like Big Mike and like being from Pittsburgh and all that. I understand he's not freaking, I don't know, Bill Belichick or whoever you want to like, but like he's such a like memeable dude.
he
Like
really
obviously at the
is.
Cowboys, he's kind of known for making mistakes with time management and all that. But I love Big Mike, dude. Like seeing Big Mike on the sideline over there with his big clipboard and everything. Like,
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny. So
Yeah.
love Big Mike.
Absolutely. And he got the most out of Dak. You guys had some like 3 seasons of 12
Change that
plus
offense,
wins.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are definitely reasons to be hopeful and excited as a Steelers fan, but obviously when it comes to our future, there are less reasons to be hopeful and excited. So hopefully this season will show some or reap some results just based on some of the moves that we've been making, even if it is getting older and getting Aaron Rodgers. But like you said, I think you're a little more positive than I am as a Pittsburgh fan. But yeah, the vibes are high. We got that going on. So hopefully we can put together a good season, maybe win a freaking playoff game. But with that being said, Sammy, I think that's a podcast. Lo and behold, we were over an hour, but only 10 minutes over. So doing a lot better this time. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. But again, we appreciate you guys for tuning in and sticking with us. If you guys could please like and subscribe as always on the video here. Go over to Spotify and Apple Podcast, like, rate, and follow there. That would help us out a ton, push it out to more people. We would appreciate it. And we will see you guys on the next one. All right. Peace.